My dear young friends, gather close and let an old man share a truth that took a lifetime in the mills and the markets to truly master. You stand today at the threshold of a new era, yet the laws of character and the secrets of the spirit remain as fixed as the stars. If you wish to build something of lasting value, not merely for yourself, but for the advancement of our civilization, you must first learn the sacred art of the closed lip. Listen to me carefully. The most potent force you possess is your focused attention. It is the steam in the boiler, the current in the wire. Yet I tell you, this precious focus is dissipated the very moment you open your mouth to boast of your intentions. I say to you now, with all the earnestness of a man who has seen both the gutter and the heights, never tell the world what you intend to do. Show them what you have done. Why do I speak so sternly on this? Because the instant you speak your vision aloud, you surrender your power. Energy that should be directed toward the anvil of execution is instead exhaled into the thin air of conversation. You think you are gaining strength by sharing your dreams, but in truth, you are leaking the very vital fluid of your success. When you talk overmuch, you invite the most corrosive elements of the human condition to enter your sanctuary. You invite criticism, you invite envy, and you invite the idle opinions of those who have never laid a single stone of their own foundation. I have seen it 1,000 times in the Pittsburgh works and the boardrooms of New York. A young man, full of fire, declares to the crowd what he shall achieve, and what follows? The doubts of the mediocre sink into his mind like rust. Their skepticism poisons his belief. It is a tragedy of the highest order, for many a great enterprise has died not from a failure of the plan, but from premature exposure to the cold winds of the world. The true builders of this world, the men who move mountains and bridge rivers, are those who understand the majesty of silence. Consider the oak. Does it groan and boast as it reaches for the heavens? No, it grows in a quiet dignity that mocks the howling storm. Consider the great rivers that carve through the granite of our continents. They do their work without clamor. Your goals, my friends, are seeds, and every seed, by the divine law of nature, must find its first strength in the darkness of the earth. If you are so impatient as to dig it up every day to show your neighbors how it progresses, you shall surely kill it before it takes root. Remember always that results are the only language that requires no interpreter. You have no need to explain your worth. You have no need to prove your merit through the vanity of speech. When your success finally stands before the world, solid, undeniable, and serving the common good, it shall speak with a voice louder than 10,000 promises. Silence is not merely the absence of noise, it is the presence of discipline. It is the fortress of strength. While the idle talk, you must work. While the vain boast, you must build. While the weak explain away their failures, you must execute your purpose with a relentless, quiet hand. Guard your vision as a mother guards her child. Lock it within the tabernacle of your heart. Work in the shadows of the morning and the stillness of the night. And then, when the hour is ripe and the work is finished, step into the light of day. Do not come with explanations. Do not come with apologies. Step forward with a victory so manifest and so beneficial to your fellow man that the world has no choice but to accord you its respect. Do not tell them what you do. Let the finished product be your witness. I tell you, silence is power. The energy wasted in idle talk is a tax upon your results. The more you feel the need to explain your path, the less likely you are to reach the destination. Every revelation of your inner plan invites resistance, awakens jealousy, and welcomes the shadows of doubt. Too many souls in this modern age give away their vision before it is even born, and then they wonder why their lives are barren. You must master the discipline of silence, for it is the guardian of your focus and the protector of your destiny. Reflect upon this. Every time you reveal your plans to the uninitiated, you grant them the opportunity to plant their own fears in the fertile soil of your mind. They will tell you the task is impossible. They will remind you of your humble beginnings or your past stumbles. Some will laugh, while others, more dangerous still, will offer a hollow support while secretly praying for your downfall. This is the hard reality of the human heart when it has not been disciplined by labor. Men often envy what they cannot emulate. They tear down because they lack the courage to build. By opening your mouth, you place the delicate seed of your greatness into hands that may crush it. Your dreams are fragile in their infancy. Like a sapling in a storm, they require protection. They need the darkness of privacy and the patience of the seasons before they are strong enough to break through into the sunlight. Stop asking for permission from those who lack your vision. Stop seeking the approval of the crowd. Work in the quietude of your own resolve until your roots are so deep that no wind can stir you. Execution creates the only proof that matters. Words are but the rustle of dead leaves. A man who spends his days talking of what he shall do may feel a temporary glow of accomplishment, but he is a pauper in the realm of reality. He has burned the fuel of his ambition in the fireplace of vanity. The truly successful do not broadcast their struggles, they overcome them. They do not seek the applause of the gallery before the curtain has even risen. They earn the gratitude of the world when the task is complete. When you speak less, you find that you work more. And when you work more, you achieve that which the talkers only dream of. Success, once achieved, speaks a universal tongue. It requires no defense, no justification, and no lengthy preamble. A finished result silences every critic and dissolves every doubt. Let your achievements be your only response to the world. Let your victory be your introduction. Never forget this fundamental truth. The loudest man in the room is often the one with the emptiest pockets and the weakest resolve. He who announces every step of his journey is usually the one who tires before the first mile is passed. He drowns in the sea of his own words. But the quiet worker, the man of disciplined dreams and steady hand, he is the one who eventually moves the world. He moves in the shadows, and he emerges with a contribution so powerful that it cannot be ignored. There is a great advantage in the mystery of silence. It keeps the meddler at bay and the saboteur in the dark. When no one knows your next move, no one can place a stone in your path. Guard your vision as if it were the most sacred trust ever placed in the hands of man. Do not feed it to careless mouths. Do not water it with the thin soup of unnecessary conversation. Your vision is a sacred thing, and that which is sacred must be shielded from the profane. Work day after day, year after year. When others are seeking the fleeting pleasures of the hour, you must be laying the stones of your character. When others are boasting of their meager gains, you must be building your empire of service. And when they ask what occupies your mind, simply smile and remain silent. Let them wonder. Let them underestimate your strength. Let them believe you are ordinary. For the day will come when your results will thunder so loudly that the very ground will shake beneath their feet. History does not record the names of those who merely promised great things. It honors those who produced them. The annals of our race are not written by those who explained why they could not succeed, but by those who, in the face of every difficulty, simply did the work. You are not here to debate your worth with the world. You are here to create, to conquer your own weaknesses, and to dominate the circumstances of your life through industry and thrift. None of this requires a multitude of words. Train yourself, therefore, in the art of the quiet life. Protect your focus as if it were a chest of gold. Let your actions echo in the halls of time while your lips remain closed. And when the doors of opportunity finally swing wide, step out with undeniable proof that humbles the critic and silences the scoffer. Build in the silence of the night, grow in the darkness of the soil, and rise in the power of your finished labor. In the end, promises vanish like the morning mist, and opinions are as cheap as the dirt beneath your boots.
But results, well-wrought, honest results, are eternal. They are the only truth that cannot be challenged. Hold your silence, do your work, deliver your result, and let the world bow not to what you said, but to the magnificent reality of what you have created. I tell you truly, silence is more than a mere shield. It is the laboratory where the spirit of a man is refined. My young friends, do you know why the average man is so eager to speak of his plans? It is because he seeks the reward before he has performed the service. He craves the warmth of approval to satisfy a vanity that has not yet been earned by honest toil. But you must be different. You must understand that every word spoken in defense of an unfulfilled dream is a leak in the boiler of your ambition. Why do I insist that you never tell people what you do? Because the world, in its present state of development, is often a theater of envy rather than a temple of support. This is a hard truth to swallow for the idealistic youth, but it is one that I learned early in the telegraph office and later in the furnace of the iron trade. Most men will not cheer for your ascent. They will watch for your stumble. Your rise is a silent indictment of their own stagnation. Your hunger for the heights exposes their contentment with the valley. When you reveal your vision, you are not gaining allies. You are often providing a target for those who live in the shadows of "it cannot be done." Consider the nature of a plan. It is a sacred trust between your mind and the infinite. When you broadcast it, you invite the criticism of the mediocre. These critics have achieved nothing, yet they speak with the authority of Solomon. They will tell you that the capital is too scarce, the risk too high, or the timing ill-favored. Their doubts, if allowed entrance through your ears, will sink into your subconscious mind like lead in a pool of water. They will poison your belief. This is the tragic end of many a noble enterprise, not failure in the marketplace, but death by exposure in the drawing room of idle conversation. The tallest trees of industry, like the great oaks of my beloved Scotland, grow in a profound silence. They do not announce their inch-by-inch progress to the forest. They simply endure the seasons until their stature is undeniable. Your goals are seeds, and the first law of the seed is that it must die to its old form in the darkness of the earth. If you are so vain as to dig up your progress every day to show your neighbors, you are a foolish gardener indeed. You are destroying the roots before they can find the water of reality. Remember, results are the only language that requires no defense. In my time, I have seen men spend years explaining why they were about to become rich, while the man of silence was quietly accumulating the scrap iron that would build a bridge. You do not need to prove your worth to the scoffer. When your success stands before the world, visible, tangible, and contributing to the welfare of the community, it will speak with a thunderous voice that makes your previous silence seem like the highest wisdom. Silence is a form of discipline that the weak cannot endure. It takes a rugged character to hold a vision close to the chest while the world passes by in a blur of noise and vanity.
While others are boasting of their intentions at the club, you must be at your desk. While they are explaining their potential at the dinner table, you must be executing your purpose in the workshop. Guard your vision as if it were the secret code of a great financier. Lock it within your heart. Work in the quietude of the early morning and the solitude of the late night. And when the hour is right, not when you hope it is, but when the work is finished and the product is ready, step into the light of day. Do not come with a speech, do not come with a list of promises. Step forward with a victory so manifest that the world has no choice but to accord you its respect. A man who has produced a better rail, a faster engine, or a more efficient process has no need for adjectives. His work is his witness. I have observed that the more a man explains, the less he executes. There is a limited amount of creative energy in the human spirit. If you spend it in the larynx, you will not have it in the hands. Every time you reveal your strategy, you invite resistance and sabotage. You awaken the sleeping giants of jealousy. Too many people in this age are eager to share their vision before it has even been tested by the first frost of difficulty. They wonder why their dreams never survive the winter. It is because they were not hardened in the frost of silence. Think on this. Every time you declare your plans to the uninspired, you give them the opportunity to transplant their own fears into your soul. They will remind you of the failures of others. They will speak of realism as a shroud for their own cowardice. They may smile to your face, but many secretly hope for your failure, so that they might feel better about their own lack of initiative. This is the reality of the unrefined man. He envies more than he encourages. By opening your mouth, you place the delicate spark of your future into hands that may quench it. Your dreams, in their infancy, are as fragile as a newborn babe. They require the nursery of privacy. They need the fortification of habit and the strength of repeated effort before they can face the public gaze. Stop seeking permission from those who lack the eyes to see what you see. Stop looking for validation from the crowd that follows only the finished success. Work in the shadows until your roots are so deep that the strongest gale of public opinion cannot move you. Execution is the only currency that carries weight in the bank of history. Words are merely the paper of promises, often inflated and usually worthless. A man who talks of what he shall do feels a false warmth, a phantom success that robs him of the hunger necessary for real achievement. He has traded his birthright of accomplishment for a pottage of temporary attention. The successful man does not broadcast his struggles. He overcomes them in the quiet of his soul. He does not seek the applause of the gallery while the foundation is still being dug. He earns the respect of the world only when the roof is tight and the hearth is lit. When you speak less, you will find that the quality of your thought improves. Silence allows the mind to focus on the single thing which is the secret of all great fortunes. In silence, there is no distraction, no external noise, no interference from the poisoned tongues of the small-minded. There is only you, your purpose, and the work at hand. That, my friends, is all a man of character requires. Nobody in the annals of business is remembered for the speeches they made before they succeeded. They are remembered for the structures they built, the libraries they founded, and the industries they revolutionized. These things were not talked into existence, they were labored into existence. The noise comes only after the victory, as the cheering of the crowd follows the crossing of the line. To seek the noise before the victory is the mark of a superficial mind. You must train your tongue to be the servant of your will, not the herald of your vanity. Let others waste their years in the marketplace of gossip and empty declarations. You must be the silent builder. Do not broadcast your strategies to your competitors. Do not reveal your inner doubts to the cynical. Keep your own counsel. There is a grand dignity in the man who says little and does much. He becomes a figure of mystery and eventually a figure of authority. When you work quietly, you give your vision the space it needs to mature without the distortion of outside influence. You are not burdened by the need to defend an idea that is still in flux. You are not slowed down by the obligation to explain your methods to those who cannot understand the mechanics of success. You simply move, one measured step after another, until the summit is reached. And from that height, you will not need to shout. The world will see you against the sky. Remember this, the public can argue with no finished result. They can argue with your theory, they can mock your blueprint, they can doubt your promise, but when the bridge is standing and the trains are crossing, the argument is over. The critic falls silent. The envious man is forced to tip his hat. The doubter is crushed by the weight of evidence. Do not seek the well done of men at the beginning of the day. Seek the it is finished at the end of the task. I urge you to adopt the discipline of the Sphinx of business. Build in the quiet. Train in the secret places of your own heart. Let your industry be your only advertisement. While the world is busy with the trivialities of the hour, you must be engaged with the eternal laws of accumulation and service. Let them think you are doing nothing. Let them believe you are a man of no consequence. For while they are sleeping or boasting, you are laying the foundations of a life that will endure long after their words have turned to dust. In the end, the history of our great republic was not written by the talkers, but by the doers. It was written by the men who saw a need and met it in silence, by the pioneers who moved westward without a press agent, and by the inventors who labored in freezing garrets until the light flickered to life. None of them asked for a parade before the work was done. They understood that the reward of a thing well done is to have done it. So lock your vision away, protect it from the careless mouths of the
weak. Feed it with the fuel of secret labor. And when the time comes to reveal what you have wrought, let the result be so magnificent, so complete, and so beneficial to your fellow man that it requires no explanation whatsoever. Let the silence of your labor be followed by the thunder of your success. It is often said that a man's character is forged in the fires of his public struggles, but I tell you it is more truly refined in the solitude of his private resolve. My young friends, if you seek to enter the empire of business, or to make your mark upon the history of our great republic, you must confront a most insidious foe, the human tendency to seek support from those who have no capacity to give it. We are social creatures, and the desire to share our aspirations is natural. Yet in the realm of high achievement, this natural impulse is a profound weakness. You must face the cold, hard fact that in this world, people envy more than they support. This is the poisoned tongue of which I speak, not merely the active malice of an enemy, but the subtle, often unconscious discouragement that flows from the lips of the unadventurous. When you reveal your plans, you are placing your future in the hands of the gallery. And why should you expect the gallery to understand the stage? Most people will not clap for your ascent because your success serves as a mirror to their own failures. They have settled for the temporary high of talk and the comfort of the average life. When you declare that you intend to rise, you disturb their peace. They will smile to your face, as is the custom of polite society, but secretly they hope you stumble. Your fall would justify their own lack of initiative. Your victory would expose their laziness. Never tell people what you do, for every time you share your dream, you invite a thief into your house. You think you are gaining encouragement, but you are actually inviting doubt. Once doubt enters the mind, it is like a drop of ink in a glass of clear water. It diffuses until the whole is clouded. The weakness of opinions from those who have achieved nothing can sink into your soul and poison your belief.
Many a young man of genius has been talked out of a fortune by a relative or a friend who spoke from a position of fear. The vision was given to you, not to them. They cannot see the bridge you see. They cannot hear the hum of the machinery you intend to build. To expect faith from those who live in fear is the height of folly. Stop expecting the spirit of a lion from those with the minds of sheep. Your dreams, in their infancy, are as fragile as the first shoots of spring. They need the darkness of the soil, the protection of the shade, and the patience of the winter. If you expose them to the light of public scrutiny too early, you dig them up before they have roots. Silence is the only atmosphere in which a great purpose can take firm hold. I have noticed throughout my career, from my earliest days as a messenger boy to the years I spent consolidating the steel industry, that the men who succeeded most brilliantly were those who possessed a sphinx-like quality. They were the silent grinders. They did not broadcast their intentions, they executed them. They understood that every ounce of energy spent in explanation was an ounce taken away from production. Execution creates the only proof the world is forced to respect. Talk, on the other hand, creates excuses. A man who spends his strength in describing his plans often feels as if he has already accomplished something, but he is merely a victim of his own vanity. He has wasted the fire of his ambition in meaningless conversation. In the mills, we did not value the man who promised 100 tons of pig iron. We valued the man who delivered them. Promises vanish like smoke, but a finished result remains as a monument to character. Silence is the discipline that protects your execution from the interference of the envious and the sabotage of the skeptical. Guard your vision as a treasure, for it is the only thing that is truly yours. Do not feed it to careless mouths or weak minds. Do not water it with the thin soup of unnecessary talk. There is a sacred quality to a man's deepest ambitions, and sacred things must be protected behind closed doors. Work in the shadows day after day and night after night. Let the world underestimate you. Let them believe you are ordinary, or even that you are standing still. For while they are busy with their endless chatter and their hollow boasts, you are strengthening the foundations of your destiny. Envy is everywhere. It is found among colleagues, within families, and even among those who call themselves your friends. Some do not want you to succeed simply because they did not. They gave up on their own greatness, and they want you to join them in the comfortable grave of the mediocre. If you are wise, you will not give them the chance to interfere. You will lock your plan inside your heart and work in silence until the result is so undeniable, so massive, and so beneficial to society that no envy can erase it. The world respects results, not intentions. When the result is in your hand, even your fiercest critics will be forced to tip their hats. Results shut every mouth and crush envy under the weight of proof. I urge you to become a quiet worker. While others boast, you must build. While others complain of the difficulty of the times, you must be creating the solutions that will define the future. This is how you separate yourself from the herd. You escape envy not by explaining yourself, but by producing results that cannot be denied. Let the doubt of others fuel your secret labor. Let it remind you why silence is your greatest ally. For the same people who whisper doubts today will claim they always believed in you once your success is manifest. Do not waste time proving them wrong with words. Prove them wrong with the undeniable reality of your achievements. Keep your focus pure. In silence, there is no distraction, no outside noise, and no interference from the voices of the valley. There is only you and your work. Every ounce of your energy must go into the execution, not into the defense of your ideas. And when the work is finished, when the vision has become a reality, that result will announce itself with a force that no words could ever match. A finished skyscraper requires no explanation. A completed library needs no defense. Let your victory be your only response. Let your success make the noise that the world cannot ignore. In the end, words are but the rustle of the wind, but the work of a man's hand is eternal. Results are power. Results are respect. Results are the only truth that cannot be challenged.
My young friends, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of the mind, for the empire of business is won or lost in the silent corridors of the brain before a single dollar is ever banked. I have told you that silence is armor. Now I tell you it is the very engine of focus. There is a grand psychological law at play here. The moment you open your mouth to explain your intentions, you invite a legion of distractions that seek to dethrone your purpose. Talking attracts doubt, it invites criticism, and it creates a fatal distraction that bleeds the steam from your resolve. Why is it that the average man feels such a desperate urge to reveal his steps? It is because he lacks the internal fortitude to stand alone with his vision. He seeks to outsource his confidence to the opinions of the crowd. But I warn you, the crowd is a fickle master. The moment you declare your plan, you invite the judgment of those who neither carry your responsibility nor possess your foresight. You imagine you are seeking counsel, but you are truly leaking power. Every word you utter regarding what you intend to do is a withdrawal from your account of creative energy. You spend your fire in the air of conversation rather than the furnace of execution. In my years managing the great works at Homestead and elsewhere, I observed that the man who was forever explaining his system was rarely the man who exceeded his quota. Talking weakens the dream. Silence protects it like a fortress. When you explain your plans, you give the world a chance to sit in judgment over a work that is not yet finished. They will criticize the design before the foundation is even dry. They do not do this always out of malice, but because they are limited by their own horizons. They pull you into endless debates, forcing you to defend your convictions against their hesitations. By the time you have finished convincing them, you have lost the momentum to act. This is why so many promising careers are buried under a mountain of talk. The strength was wasted in the defense instead of the attack. Let us speak of the critics. They are a prolific race, found in every club and every corner of the marketplace. They have nothing to risk, nothing to build, and nothing to show for their own lives, yet they are the loudest in their pronouncements of what cannot be done. If you allow their voices into the sanctuary of your mind, they will act as a slow-acting poison. They will turn your certainty into hesitation, and in the high-stakes game of business, hesitation is the precursor to ruin. Momentum is a fragile thing. It requires a singular, undisturbed focus. The noise of the critic is the grit in the gears of progress. Furthermore, consider how talking attracts envy, that green-eyed monster that lurks in the hearts of those who have settled for mediocrity. Not everyone around you wishes to see you scale the heights. Your success is a stinging reminder of their own surrendered ambitions. They will nod and smile while planting subtle seeds of doubt. Is the market not too crowded? Are you not risking too much? Is it wise to be so bold? They wear the mask of supportive friendship while whispering the language of the saboteur. Silence is not merely a preference, it is a tactical necessity. It is the only way to move your pieces across the board without your opponent seeing your strategy. And let us not overlook the most dangerous trap of all, the false glow of the talker.
When you speak of your grand designs, your brain often tricks itself into believing the work is already done. You receive the applause of the listeners, you feel the warmth of their admiration, and your internal hunger, that divine discontent which is the mother of all progress, begins to cool. You become satisfied with the shadow of success rather than the substance of it. You trade the enduring glory of a finished achievement for the cheap, fleeting gratification of a morning's gossip. Talking is the thief of discipline. It robs you of the very fire in the belly required to endure the long, lonely hours of labor. Silence, however, is the great concentrator. In silence, there is no outside noise to distort your vision. There is no need to justify your path to those who do not walk it. There is only you, the task, and the relentless pursuit of mastery. The greatest inventions of our age, the Bessemer process, the telegraph, the steam engine, were not talked into existence. They were wrestled out of the silence of laboratories and workshops by men who were too busy doing the work to talk about it. They understood that the world does not reward the announcement, it rewards the achievement. Execution is the only proof that history respects. No one cares for the man who almost built a railroad or planned to found a library. They honor the man who delivered the rails and opened the doors. The tallest buildings in New York and the strongest empires of trade were crafted in a profound silence, away from the clamor of the crowd. When they were finally revealed, they spoke for themselves. That is the pattern of the mastermind: silence during the labor, thunder in the result. Decide today who you shall be. Will you be the one who talks and talks until his potential is evaporated? Or will you be the man of the closed mouth and the open hand, the one who works in the shadows and then stuns the world with undeniable evidence of his worth? The weak seek the comfort of the well done before the sun has set. The strong seek only the result, knowing that when the work is finished, the world will have no choice but to acknowledge it. Guard your dream as a miser guards his gold. Lock it away from the careless tongues and the weak minds that would dilute its strength. Build your character in the stillness. Let your industry be your only proclamation. And when the time is right, let your results speak with a force that humbles the critic and inspires the true seeker. For in the end, words are but a passing wind, but a life built on silent, relentless execution is a monument that shall stand for generations.
My young friends, let us look upon the machinery of life with the same discerning eye that a master mechanic casts upon a steam engine. We must understand where the power is generated and where it is wasted. I've spent my years observing the rise of men and the fall of empires, and I have found no greater thief of potential than the false progress of the open mouth. There is a profound difference between the man who is moving and the man who is merely making noise. In the great theater of life, many believe that to speak of a thing is to be well on the way to doing it. They are gravely mistaken. Execution creates the only proof the world can bank upon. Words create only the flimsy excuses of the bankrupt. It does not matter how beautifully you describe your dream or how passionately you explain your plan to your neighbors. Without execution, all of it is as empty as a dry well. Words are cheap. They are the copper coins of the marketplace, easily minted and worth very little. Proof, however, is the solid gold of the treasury. Proof only comes from action. Proof only comes from results. Yet I see too many souls living their lives in a state of perpetual talk. They speak of what they will achieve next year, what they will build when the wind is favorable, or how they will revolutionize an industry. But for these men, the favorable wind never arrives. Why? Because talk is a comfortable substitute for the hard, grinding labor of reality. When you talk about your plans, you experience a temporary satisfaction, a phantom victory that tricks your mind.
You feel the warmth of the listener's gaze, you hear the well done of the crowd, and you feel as if you have already crossed the finish line. But this satisfaction is a poison. It robs you of the hunger, the divine discontent that is the only force capable of driving a man through the dark hours of real toil. You have burned the fire of your ambition in the thin air of conversation, leaving nothing but cold ashes for the work itself. Do not fall into this trap. Do not trade the enduring substance of a finished result for the fleeting shadow of social approval. In my time, I have seen that words create excuses, and excuses are the tools with which men build monuments of nothing. I was going to start, but the capital was not ready. I intended to expand, but the market was uncertain. These are the sounds of wasted potential. They are the dirges sung over the graves of buried dreams. Execution is different. Execution is raw. It is often silent, and it is always hard. It demands the sacrifice of your vanity and the consistency of a heartbeat. Execution does not give you the comfort of applause in the beginning. It is quiet, it is often lonely, and to the outside world it is invisible. But execution pays in the only currency that matters: results. Execution is the ultimate answer to every critic who ever doubted your parentage, your education, or your prospects. Words invite doubt because words can be faked. Execution silences doubt because the scoreboard of life does not lie. In the mills, we did not ask a man for his philosophy of iron. We asked to see the iron he had puddled. The world does not care what you say you will do. It respects only what you actually accomplish. You do not need to defend your vision when you have a finished product to show. You do not need to talk when the bridge you built is carrying the commerce of a nation. The greatest victories in the history of our race were never announced ahead of time. The pioneer does not send a messenger back to the city to describe the clearing he intends to make. He makes the clearing, builds the cabin, and then invites the world to see. The innovator does not reveal the secret of his laboratory until the light stays lit. They move in silence. They work in the shadows of the morning. They execute relentlessly while the talkers are still in their beds. And when the time is right, they unveil their proof, a proof so undeniable and complete that no critic can find a foothold for an argument. Talking about what you will do gives others the opportunity to tear your vision apart before it has been hardened by the fires of reality. They will project their own fears on your plan. They will remind you of every man who failed before you, and if you are not guarded, their doubt will become your belief. This is why silence is a shield. It is a fortress that protects your execution from the dampening effect of the crowd. Stop seeking the approval of the idle. Stop explaining yourself to those who have no intention of following you. Put every ounce of your energy where it belongs, into the work itself. You must understand that results cannot be faked. You can fake an intention, you can fake a promise, and you can certainly fake a conversation, but you cannot fake 1,000 tons of steel. You cannot fake a library that stands for the education of the people. Either the work is done or it is not. Execution is the only evidence that carries weight in the final judgment of a man's career. Therefore, if you wish to rise above the common herd, do not strive to be the loudest voice in the room. Strive to be the most effective executive. While others are drowning in their own excuses, you must be moving. While others are explaining the reasons for their stagnation, you must be building your foundation. Let them chase the temporary attention of empty promises. You must chase the eternal respect of undeniable results. One day you will stand before the very people who doubted you, and you will find that you have no need to speak at all. Your results will speak for you. Your success will humble the critic and inspire the true worker. The proof will stand before them, louder than any speech you could ever have delivered in the marketplace of talk.
Execution creates proof. Words create excuses. The choice is yours, and the clock is ticking. Will you live in the world of the talkers, or will you take your place among the builders? Stop the talk, begin the doing, deliver the proof, and let the world bow to your results.
My young friends, let us consider the great cathedrals of the old world and the massive suspension bridges of our own. These wonders of the age were not talked into existence, they were built, stone by stone and rivet by rivet, by men who understood that the architect's greatest strength lies in his reserve. There is a specific type of folly that belongs to the man who reveals his blueprints before the first shovelful of earth has been turned. He seeks to bask in the glory of the finished structure while the land is still a barren lot. I say to you, the greatest builders reveal their work only when it is finished. Why must you adopt this discipline? Because an unexecuted plan is a fragile thing, easily shattered by the winds of opinion. When you show your blueprints to the world, you are inviting the idle and the envious to find fault with your design. They will tell you the span is too wide, the materials too costly, or the vision too bold for a man of your standing. And because the building is not yet there to defend itself, because it exists only in your mind, you are forced to waste your precious energy in a war of words. You become a debater instead of a creator. You spend your strength justifying your right to build rather than doing the building. In my experience, the men who truly leave a mark upon the world do not broadcast their intentions before the foundation is laid. They know that people envy more than they support. When you tell the world what you intend to do, you are often issuing a challenge to the mediocre. You are telling them that you intend to rise above them, and the human heart, if not schooled in the virtues of industry, will react with jealousy. Why invite this resistance? Why give the saboteur a map of your heart? The element of surprise is a financier's greatest ally and a builder's strongest shield. You must understand that a dream is like a flame in a drafty room. If you expose it too soon, the draft will extinguish it. It needs the protection of a glass chimney, the chimney of silence, until it has grown into a roaring fire that can withstand any gale. Too many people sabotage their own futures by seeking validation for their ideas before they have tested them in the crucible of reality. They want the world to tell them they are brilliant before they have produced a single result. But the world's praise is a fickle thing, and its criticism is even more dangerous to the man who has not yet found his footing. Silence is not a sign of fear, it is the mark of a master. The man who is sure of his ability to execute has no need to announce his every move. He is content to let the work progress in the shadows of privacy. He understands that every hour spent in talk is an hour stolen from the task. In the mills of the Allegheny, we did not trust the man who was forever describing the quality of the steel he planned to pour. We trusted the man whose furnace remained closed until the ingot was ready. The sphinx of the boardroom is far more powerful than the orator of the social club. Moreover, there is a profound psychological toll taken by premature disclosure. When you tell your friends and family of your grand designs and they offer you their applause, your mind receives a counterfeit reward. You feel a sense of completion that you have not earned. The hunger that should have driven you through the difficult labor is satiated by empty words. This is why so many great plans never leave the dinner table. The fire was exhausted in the speaking. You must learn to starve your vanity so that you may feed your ambition. Think of the pioneer who moves westward. He does not stop at every settlement to describe the ranch he will one day own. He moves in silence across the plains, endures the hardships of the trail, and only when the fences are up and the cattle are grazing does he send word of his success. The world does not respect the blueprint, it respects the skyscraper. It does not honor the intention, it honors the accomplishment. You must train yourself to hold your peace until the proof is undeniable. Results are the only voice that cannot be silenced.
When the work is complete, when the bridge is open, the library is founded, or the industry is transformed, no argument can stand against it. The critic who mocked your vision will be forced to walk across your bridge. The envious man who whispered doubts will seek a seat in your boardroom. This is the ultimate triumph, to allow your success to make the noise. A finished result humbles the proud and silences the scoffer. Do not seek the applause of men in the morning of your labor. Seek the quiet satisfaction of a job well done at the setting of the sun. Guard your vision as a sacred trust. Lock your plans away from careless mouths and weak minds. Build in the silence of the night. Grind in the solitude of the day, and let your industry be your only proclamation. When the time is right, step forward and let the world see what you have wrought. They will be shocked not by your words, but by the magnitude of your victory. The greatest builders reveal only when finished. Be one of them. Build in silence, reveal in power, and let your results speak a language that the whole world must respect.
My young friends, let us turn our gaze to the most fundamental laboratory of all, the Earth itself. If you wish to understand the accumulation of a great fortune or the building of a lasting institution, you must first study the law of the seed. No husbandman, if he be in his right mind, plants a kernel of corn and then immediately scrapes away the soil to show his neighbors that it is beginning to sprout. He knows that the most critical stage of life occurs in the absolute darkness of the underground. Your dreams, your goals, and your highest ambitions are no different. They require a period of sacred darkness before the harvest can ever show its face to the sun. This is why I charge you, protect your seed until it becomes a harvest. Talking too soon is precisely like digging up that seed before it has established its roots. The moment you begin to announce your plans to the marketplace or the social circle, you invite the winds of opinion to dry out the soil. You invite the doubts of the skeptical and the envy of the small-minded to trample upon the very ground where your future lies hidden. Why would you hand over the key to your sanctuary to those who do not share your burden? Why expose the fragile shoot of your genius to the poison of the uninspired? You must understand a hard truth about the human condition. People envy more than they support. It is a lamentable fact that many in the crowd will not wish to see you rise, for your elevation serves as a painful reminder of their own choice to remain in the valley. Your growth highlights their excuses. Your hunger for the heights exposes their comfortable laziness. When you reveal your dream, you are often placing a target upon it. There are those who will not attack you with open hatred, but with the more dangerous, subtle doubt. The feigned concern, the cautionary tale of another's failure, the realistic advice that seeks to keep you small. Silence is your only shield against this interference. Every great work of man, whether it be the founding of a library, the construction of a steel mill, or the organization of a great industry, must first pass through a period of patient, private cultivation. In my own life, I learned early that a plan spoken of is a plan weakened. In the stillness of the mind, the mastermind works best. When you keep your vision locked away, you allow the roots to strike deep into the bedrock of character. You allow your purpose to become so firm that when it finally breaks the surface, no storm can uproot it. But if you reveal it prematurely, you invite the thieves of focus to steal the vitality of your idea. There is a divine law of growth that requires privacy. Think of the pioneers who built this great nation. They did not spend their strength in the towns describing the empires they would carve from the wilderness. They went into the silence of the forests and the plains. They labored in solitude. They suffered in secret. And only when the smoke rose from the chimney of a finished homestead did the world know they had succeeded. They did not seek applause for their intentions. They commanded respect through their achievements.
Too many men in this generation are eager for the temporary high of recognition. They want to be seen as successful before they have performed the service that produces success. They trade the solid gold of a finished result for the cheap brass of a morning's notoriety. They dig up their seeds to show the world that they are doing something, and in doing so, they ensure that the plant will never reach maturity. Do not fall into this trap. Do not seek validation from the idle. Stay disciplined, stay silent, stay focused upon the work. Let the world think you are idle if they must. Let them underestimate your strength. Let them wonder why you do not join in their empty boasts. Meanwhile, you are watering your seed with the perspiration of hard work, the discipline of thrift, and the persistence of a focused will. You are strengthening the roots of your vision in the quietude of your own resolve. And when the season of the harvest finally arrives, as it surely must for the man who follows the law of industry, you will reveal a result so undeniable and so beneficial to humanity that no scoffer can find a word to say against it. Remember, my friends, the world cannot argue with the fruit of the tree. They may argue with your theory of the soil. They may mock your choice of the seed. They may doubt your ability to weather the drought. But when the harvest is in your hands, when the proof is visible to all argument dies. The critic is silenced. The envious are humbled. The doubt is crushed under the weight of the evidence. Do not waste your strength in talk. Save it for the harvest. Trust the process of the silence. Respect the darkness of the beginning. Build your future in the shadows of the hidden work, and when the time is right, step forward with a success so undeniable that the world has no choice but to accord you the respect you have truly earned.
My young friends, as we draw nearer to the heart of this lesson, we must ascend from the visible world of steel and steam into the invisible realm of the human spirit. I have taught you that silence is a shield and a laboratory. Now I tell you it is the very sanctuary of your creative power. There is a deep underlying law of our nature which many of the most successful men have used, though few have spoken of it publicly. It is the law of the inner chamber. To bring a great fortune or a great work into being, you must first establish it firmly within your own mind, away from the prying eyes and polluting tongues of the world. Keep your vision locked inside until it becomes reality, for the mind works its greatest miracles in the stillness of secrecy. You must understand that every man possesses two minds, the conscious mind, which reasons and speaks, and the subconscious mind, which is the seat of all power and the builder of the body and the fortune. The subconscious mind is like the fertile soil of the valley. It accepts whatever seed is planted there without question. When you hold a vision of success in the absolute silence of your own soul, you are planting that seed in the richest earth imaginable. But the moment you begin to talk about your plans to others, you are disturbing that soil. You are introducing the weeds of doubt, the stones of criticism, and the thorns of envy. By exposing your vision, you allow the doubt of the world to enter your sanctuary and interfere with the creative process. A dream is not meant to be announced, it is meant to be built. The moment you expose it, you place it in the hands of men who will never see what you see. They cannot feel the fire that burns in your breast. They cannot perceive the empire of business that you are constructing in your imagination. Because they are confined by their own small horizons, they will seek to reduce your vision to their limitations. Why would you allow the breath of the mediocre to blow upon the embers of your ambition? Silence is the glass chimney that allows your fire to grow into a furnace. When you keep your vision locked inside, you protect it from the ridicule and fear of those who have no courage of their own. I learned in the telegraph office as a boy among men that information is power. In the world of high finance, the man who speaks first often loses. The same is true in the development of character. Every time you open your mouth to share your future greatness, you are leaking the very pressure that should be driving your engine.
Talking gives you a false sense of achievement, a counterfeit glow that tricks the mind into thinking the victory is won. This satisfaction is a poison to the spirit of the worker. It kills the divine hunger that leads a man to toil while others sleep. You must train yourself to find strength in the shadows and power in the secret places of your resolve. The greatest victors in the history of our race have always been men of great reserve. They understood that words are cheap, but execution is priceless. Consider the man who founded a great industry or revolutionized a trade. He did not spend his youth describing the throne he would one day occupy. He worked in a silence so profound that his neighbors often thought him a man of no consequence. He was busy sharpening his skills, preparing his mind, and moving his pieces across the board in the dark. While others were chasing the attention of the moment, he was chasing the mastery of an age. The eagle does not tell the forest it is about to fly. It simply spreads its wings and lets the flight be its proclamation. You must realize that the world, for the most part, does not wish to see you rise. Your success is a silent indictment of their own failure to act. Your hunger exposes their laziness. Your pursuit of greatness forces them to confront the excuses they have lived with for a lifetime. Rather than rise to your level, many will try to pull you back down to theirs. They will tell you to be realistic, which is merely the language of the defeated. They will mock your ambition because it reminds them of the dreams they themselves buried long ago. Do not give them the satisfaction of knowing your heart. Protect your vision until it is so strong that no argument can stand against it. Results are the only voice that cannot be silenced. The world may reject your theories, it may mock your plans, and it may doubt your promises, but it cannot reject your proof. When the work is finished, when the factory is running, the bridge is standing, or the bank account is overflowing, the debate is over. Success is the only language that everyone understands and that no one can refute. Therefore, stop explaining, stop announcing, and stop seeking the validation of those who have no intention of building anything themselves. Master the art of silence. Embrace the power of secrecy. While others are looking for the applause of the crowd, you must be looking for the results of your labor. While they talk, you must act. While they look for validation, you must build an unshakable confidence through the performance of honest work. The day will come when your vision is no longer a secret, for it will be a manifest reality. And on that day, you will not need to defend your choices or explain your path. Your success will stand as a monument to your character, and the world will have no choice but to respect the man who knew how to hold his tongue until his hands had finished the task. Build in the dark until your work is too powerful to be ignored. Let your results roar louder than any promise you could have ever made.
My young friends, as we approach the final chapter of this discourse, let us sit together as men who have seen the sun rise and set upon many a hard-fought field of industry. I have spent my years among the titans and the toilers, and I tell you with the absolute certainty of experience, the world does not remember what you said you would do. It has a short memory for promises and a deaf ear for explanations. History is a stern judge that records only what was done. It is not written by the orators who described the future, but by the silent, resolute men who stepped out of the shadows with a finished product in their hands. Too many in this modern age are intoxicated by the sound of their own voices. They believe that to announce a goal is a form of progress. They are like a captain who spends all his coal blowing the whistle instead of turning the propeller. They make a great noise, but they remain at the dock. You must understand that every time you reveal your plans, you invite a leak in the boiler of your resolve. Why do you seek the applause of the crowd before you have performed the service that justifies it? Such applause is a debt you cannot yet pay. It is a hollow gratification that robs you of the very hunger required to cross the finish line.
I say to you again, never tell people what you do, show them when it is done. In the empire of business, the only currency that never depreciates is the result. Results are the only truth that cannot be challenged by the critic, the only evidence that humbles the envious, and the only achievement that commands the respect of the ages. When I stood at the head of the great steel works, I did not ask my managers for their intentions. I looked at the production sheets. The sheets did not lie. The finished rail did not need an introduction. It was its own testimony. There is a sacred solemnity in the man who can hold his peace while the world is busy with its trivialities. Silence is the discipline of the master. It is the fortress of the character. While others are boasting of the wealth they intend to acquire, you must be quietly practicing the virtues of thrift, industry, and concentration. While they are explaining why they haven't yet succeeded, you must be executing the plan that makes success inevitable. Do not waste your fire in talk. Keep it locked within you until it has forged a character so strong and a result so magnificent that the world stands in awe. The greatest builders reveal only when finished because they know that people envy more than they support. They know that a vision shared too early is a vision endangered. They protect their seeds in the darkness until the harvest is undeniable. You must do the same. If you are serious about leaving a legacy, if you truly wish to be a benefactor to your fellow man and a credit to your race, you must learn the art of the Sphinx. Build in the silence, grind in the shadows. Let your success be your voice. Now, I ask you to make a solemn vow, not to the world, for the world is a fickle witness, but to yourself and to the laws of success. I want you to decide here and now that you will no longer be a man of promises, but a man of production. I want you to embrace the discipline of the quiet life. If you have the courage to stand alone with your vision, if you possess the fortitude to work without the cheap fuel of public applause, then let it be known. I invite you to declare your commitment to this path, not by telling us your grand plans. No, keep those locked in your heart, but by simply affirming your resolve. Beneath this message, I ask you to leave a simple testament. Comment with these words, "I shall build in silence." Let that be your only proclamation. Do not explain what you are building. Do not describe the heights you intend to reach. Simply give your word that you will hold your peace until the work is complete. Let us see who among you has the strength to be silent and who is still a slave to the vanity of talk. Go now, return to your labor, and let your results make the noise that the world cannot ignore.
My young friends, we have come to the end of our trek together, and I hope the dust of the road has not obscured the clarity of the destination. If there is one final lesson I wish to carve into the stone of your memory, it is this: words are the vapor of the morning, but results are the monuments of eternity. You do not need to tell the world what you are going to do. You do not need to convince the skeptic, nor do you need to justify your existence to the idle. For when the work is finished and the proof is held firmly in your hand, no argument in the heavens or on the earth is necessary. Results are the only voice that cannot be silenced. They are the only language that every nation, every tongue, and every level of society understands without a translator. They are the only evidence that demands and receives universal respect. I have seen many a man rise to the pulpit of his own vanity to preach about his upcoming success, only to vanish into the shadows when the time for delivery arrived.
But the man of silence, the man who let his work accumulate in the darkness of focused labor, eventually stands upon a mountain of his own making. Too many souls in this age waste their vital strength in talk. They broadcast their dreams as if the telling were the doing. They explain their intentions in minute detail, hoping for a crumb of applause or a nod of validation. But I tell you, every word spoken is a leak in the container of your determination. You spend your power convincing others of your worth instead of building the reality that proves it. And at the end of the day, when the accounts are settled, these talkers are left with empty hands and forgotten promises. Understand this clearly. The world does not care about your explanations. It does not believe your promises. It measures you only by what you deliver to the service of your fellow man. Results create authority. Results build respect. Results earn admiration. Talking will not give you influence, and explaining will not give you power. Only execution, only the final victory gives you the right to stand tall among the leaders of men. The loudest in the room is almost always the weakest in the field. The person who announces every step of his journey is usually the one who never finishes it. But the quiet worker, the disciplined dreamer who moves in the shadows, is the one who eventually shocks the world into silence. When you deliver, nobody asks for a preamble. When you produce, nobody cares for your justifications. The evidence is there, visible and undeniable. So, I charge you for the last time, guard your dream as a sacred trust. Lock it inside your heart. Do not feed it to careless mouths or water it with unnecessary talk. Build in the silence of the night, and let your success make the noise that shakes the world. Let your actions echo through the halls of history, while your mouth remains closed. One day you will stand before the very people who doubted you, and you will not need to utter a single syllable. Your results will speak for you. Your success will silence every critic and humble every scoffer. Now, my friends, if you have found value in these reflections on the laws of wealth and character, I invite you to join our circle of serious-minded builders. In the great mills of industry, we prized constant improvement and daily progress. To ensure you remain on the path of discipline and reserve, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel for daily insights drawn from the lives of those who shaped our age. Do not stop here. The library of success is vast, and there are many more lessons to be learned. Watch the other videos on this channel to further fortify your mind and sharpen your hand for the work ahead. Let us continue this journey of advancement together, moving ever upward and onward, not through the vanity of speech, but through the power of silent, relentless achievement. Go now. The furnace is hot, and the anvil waits. Speak nothing, and build everything.